Everyone, this is Sean Riley with Riley Real Estate and MassHomesale.com, back for this week's Q&A Saturday video. So this week we're going to be answering the question of what is real estate wholesaling. Real estate wholesaling is, it's similar in concept to the wholesaling of retail products. Your corner convenience store doesn't go directly to Procter & Gamble to buy their toilet paper. They buy from a wholesale distributor that buys a lot of that stuff from the big companies, then sells it for a marked up price to the stores before they mark it up again before they sell it to you. Real estate wholesaler approaches many sellers and negotiates a contract for terms that both sides agree upon. But instead of purchasing the property themselves, they sell the rights to the property to another investor by assigning, it's called assigning, the contract to them for some sort of fee. So, why would somebody want to sell to a wholesaler when they know they're basically just going to mark up the price of their house, past what they agreed to pay for it? Well, one reason is that markup can be anything and can easily be less than what you would pay in commission to a realtor to sell it. So, even if you're getting a lower price, you might still actually net more money. There's no guarantee of that, but it is a possibility. Even if that's not does not turn out to be the case, you still typically will have many of the other advantages of selling to an investor with, faster closings, less contingencies, and especially no hassles of, a buyer needing to get financing from a bank for the place. It's also important to understand that this markup in price is what that person is getting paid for their work. Nobody wants to work for free. Most people go to a job 9 to 5 and get a paycheck for some sort of hourly wage or a set salary for generally for an agreed upon amount of hours. But the main thing is people get paid for their time. So anyway, usually a wholesaler would be in touch with many sellers, through several kinds of advertising, all of which do cost time and money. For example, if they found you by sending you a letter, those cost, about $1 a piece, give or take. They might have to send out 1,000 of them to, 1,000 different people. And, if you got 4 letters before they got in touch with you, right there, they're $4,000 in the hole before they even talk to you. So, there are some definitely real costs that they incur too. So, it is important to understand that, these people aren't just like swooping in and making a bunch of money with, no time, effort, or expense going into it. So, everybody needs to be compensated for their work. Now why would an investor want to buy from a wholesaler? I like to think of it as like going out to dinner. Could you stay home and make dinner for a lot less? Of course you can. But it is nice for someone to bring you a nice plate of delicious food that you didn't have to, think about making, getting all the ingredients, cooking it, and then serving it. You pay a little bit more for that service. Same thing here. Someone can pay less by, doing it themselves. But, it's worth paying a little bit more to save all that time and those costs that I just mentioned for the marketing to have someone bring them a property, that works for them on a silver platter. What are the downsides of working with a wholesaler? One of them obviously mentioned is, often will get a little bit lower priced selling price, not necessarily a net price, but definitely typically you're going to get a lower selling price than you would if you sold it with a real estate agent. Another one, really this is the big one, is that a lot of people try to get started working in real estate by getting into this field because it's a pretty simple concept, and there's a lot less to do than if you're going to purchase properties and manage projects. Since that's the case, many are inexperienced and makes mistakes that can be bad for everyone. Really, the biggest mistake they make is not knowing the right numbers to make something a good deal for an investor. So, what they'll do is they'll offer you too much for your house. Now, at first, that doesn't sound like a bad thing, right? You get a higher price than what, another investor might have, offered you. But unfortunately, because they're not planning on buying the property, they can't find someone to agree to pay them for the assignment. So, they're going to work to get out of the contract, and then that just will leave the seller back at square one with, property that they're looking to sell and, no contract on it, which is kind of the opposite of what you want with an investor. One of the reasons you want to sell to an investor is to avoid those kind of hassles and having deals fall through. that's something that's a danger for retail sale, and that's one of the benefits of working with investors for that not to happen. So that is something that can happen with a wholesaler who doesn't know what they're doing. So that's definitely a disadvantage. In my opinion, the best wholesalers that I've ever seen aren't really wholesalers. So what I mean by that is that when you have people that are looking for properties with the intention of actually buying them themselves, but for some reason don't want to buy that particular one, sometimes somebody could get a lead in an area that they don't really work in, or they might have so many projects going on right now they don't have the capacity to handle another one, or they might have very strict criteria of the kind of things they want to work with. Some people are like, I only want to work with 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom colonials, but then they get a lead for a 2-1 ranch. That looks pretty good, but it's not something that they work on. So what they do is, they have other colleagues that they know will work on these projects that might not work for them, or like I said, if they're overburdened, and they get in touch with them. They wholesale it to those people. It's great. They get the other people get an easy deal that works good for them. The original person gets a small fee for their time and effort, and the seller gets to sell their house fast and easy as you want to if you're working with investors. We don't typically wholesale properties, but as we want to work on expanding our portfolio, or we want to do the rehabs and do the resells on our own. So, we're more likely to buy from a wholesaler than sell wholesale. But, we have. We have done it in the past when we have been near capacity for the number of concurrent projects that we can work on at the same time. And, something came up that looked like a good deal, but we had a lot going on, and it was like, on the fringe of the areas we work in. Doesn't happen much, and hasn't happened in a while, but, it can happen. But we would be those kind of, myself knows what a good deal is, and would be able to, ensure that it would sell very quickly to somebody else. And to be honest, if I had something under contract and, I thought maybe I'd try to wholesale it, and for some reason I couldn't find somebody to do it, but I still thought it was a good deal, I would buy it myself, even if, had these other problems, we'd make it work. So that's the difference between an investor who sometimes wholesales and somebody who's a wholesaler and maybe makes a bad deal. So anyway, that is a very brief overview on what real estate wholesaling is. This is a really big topic, and I encourage anyone that wants to learn more about it to Google it and read up on it. I will be more than happy to answer any questions from anyone. About what it is, if you want to know more about what it's involved with selling to a wholesaler, or, if you want to know what it's like to buy from them, or, if you're thinking about possibly getting involved and becoming one yourself, feel free to ask questions below, and I will do whatever I can to help answer them. So thanks for tuning in. Again, if you have other question that you want to have answered, you can also leave a comment below. You can post it on our Facebook page, our Twitter account, or send an email to info@masshomesale.com. So thanks again, and we'll see you guys at next week's video. Bye-bye.